It's Tuesday, October 14th. In the headlines, research shows that 80% of Jamaican human trafficking victims are children. Former Education Minister Rural Reid and co-accused plead not guilty to multi-million-dollar fraud charges. In business news, JMMB expands its real estate portfolio. Regionally, St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre hints at a possible general election before year-end. And in sports, Reggae Boys look to rebound against Bermuda after loss to Curacao. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaican children are being trafficked at alarming rates, far more than any other group in the country. That's according to the National Repertoire on Trafficking in Persons, Diane Gordon-Harrison. She revealed that more than 80% of human trafficking victims recorded between 2020 and 2025 were children. Ms. Gordon was speaking at the George Lyle Lecture held at the Mamby Park Baptist Church in St. Andrew. Danita Rodney has the details in this report.
Children, some as young as 11 years old, continue to be the main targets for human traffickers in Jamaica. National Rapporteur Diane Gordon-Harrison says the numbers are deeply troubling, pointing to a steady trend of children being exploited year after year.
We've seen a significant number of the victims identified in Jamaica being children, and they're between the age of 11 through to 17. In the human trafficking lingua, that's referred to as the prime shelf life of a victim. And that means young at the prime of their lives, so you'll have a lot of time to exploit them.
Mrs. Gordon-Harrison was delivering the main address at the Jamaica Baptist Union Historical Society's annual George Lyle Lecture on Sunday. She revealed that more than 80% of victims from 2020 to 2025 were children, while just under 20% were adults.
Now, we have identified 56 victims since we have had our Trafficking in Persons Act. And that's, of course, between the period 2020 to 2025. 80.4% of those victims were children, while 19.6% were adults. So that's persons 18 and over. So we see children are disproportionately represented as victims.
She also warned that human trafficking isn't limited to border crossings or kidnappings. It often happens in plain sight.
Human trafficking is simply exploitation. So you don't have to move from Jamaica to the Bahamas or Jamaica to the US and then you say, oh my God, the child was trafficked. The child could be living in his or her own home every day and they're being trafficked. A woman could be in a particular position in a bar where she goes to work every day and she's being trafficked right there when she gets to work. It doesn't require movement.
She also warned that students studying abroad and individuals from low-income families face a higher risk of being trafficked.
Many of these victims are from low-income backgrounds. They are in school, or sometimes they are unemployed at the time of the recruitment. So they're looking for a better life. And this better life desire is exploited.
Under Jamaica's anti-trafficking law, 5 key pillars guide the fight: prevention, protection, prosecution, partnership, and a policy. Mrs. Gordon-Harrison says lasting progress depends on public awareness and community vigilance to help stop traffickers in their tracks. For the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Former Minister of Education Rural Reid and his 4 co-accused pleaded not guilty on Monday to a wide range of charges related to an alleged multi-million-dollar fraud scheme involving the Ministry of Education and the Caribbean Maritime University. Crown prosecutors outlined allegations that Mr. Reed and his family members instructed a domestic worker to open a bank account into which millions of dollars were deposited, while they maintained control of the corresponding ATM card. The prosecution alleges that between March 2016 and October 2019, the five accused, Reed, his wife, Sharon Reed, who served as CMU's Manager of Legal Affairs, their daughter, Cheryl Reed, Counselor Kim Brown Lawrence, and former CMU President Professor Fritz Pinnock, participated in a scheme that siphoned off more than $25 million from both the Ministry of Education and Caribbean Maritime University. Both men faced charges of conspiracy to defraud and acts of corruption under Section 15 of the Corruption Act. Back to school season can be both thrilling and overwhelming for students. Balancing assignments, exams, and personal goals requires more than just hard work. It takes strategy. In this feature, we learn simple strategies to stay organized, manage time, and avoid burnout, helping students reach their goals with less stress, allowing them to stay ahead of the learning curve.
School can be exciting, but it also comes with challenges, deadlines, exams, and the constant push to do well. Staying ahead of the learning curve means having the right strategies to stay focused, prepared, and motivated all term long. We sat down with Vice Principal of Warrant Bay High, Marsha Ford Bryan, who shared practical advice on how students can boost their performance and avoid burnout.
It is super important that they stay organized. Once you are organized, then it will eliminate levels of fluster, and it will increase your chances of grasping the content that you need to grasp, and it will allow for you to easily go through the term feeling less flustered, feeling as if you can achieve, and it gives some level of self-motivation and focus on what is important, and it will definitely assist students in achieving their goals and objectives that they need to set out at the start of the school term.
One of the biggest challenges for students is managing time effectively. Creating a study plan, setting realistic goals, and using tools like planners or apps can make a world of difference.
So my years of experience have taught me that if students read over their notes once they go home and not wait until the appointed time, for example, when exams are upon them, then of course it will allow for them to pace themselves and eliminate cramming or swatting. So reading over the notes immediately after you go home and re-emphasizing some key points, this will allow for you to gradually gain the understanding of the content, and then you won't feel so flustered. That for me definitely works, and I've seen wherein students who practice this, it works for them.
Whether it's the Pomodoro technique, reviewing notes daily, or breaking down big assignments into smaller tasks, small habits lead to big results.
Setting goal is not only for students, it's for everyone. It is so important. You know exactly where your trajectory is. You know where you're going. Without goals, you are moving aimlessly. So it is very important. I say to students, write it down. Usually when you write something down, it is meaningful. For those of us who are in the technology age, then you voice it, you record it, and you repeat that to yourself. And that keeps you steadfast. Just in case you might forget it, you have it written down or you have it recorded. And that is a reminder of you reminding yourself, and that has greater impact than even someone else reminding you of what you said. And repetition is very important. You can set up vision boards, for example, and that gives you a vivid picture as to what your outcome is likely to be in a picture format. And you can see your mission, you see your vision, and you see your objectives.
But staying ahead isn't just about studying harder. It's about maintaining balance. Stress and burnout can quickly derail progress if students aren't careful.
Some students are of the opinion that when we talk about content and asking them to do a study timetable, for example, it must only entail academics. I say to students, you have the opportunity to also plan and interject in your study timetable things that you enjoy doing. Because once your mind is relaxed, then definitely once you are studying, you will be grasping more.
United Nations member countries have come together to fight against a common enemy: cervical cancer. The global strategy for the elimination of cervical cancer sets clear targets for 2030. 90% of girls fully vaccinated with the HPV vaccine by age 15. 70% of women screened with a high-performance test by age 35 and again at 45. And 90% of women identified with cervical disease receiving appropriate treatment. Here's more from the World Health Organization.
We're calling on all countries to join us in our effort to make cervical cancer history.
I represent survival in life today. I represent it.
My family stands in solidarity with WHO and our sisters around the world to ensure that no other wife, mother, or sister dies needlessly from cervical cancer.
They need people, they need resources, and they need very dedicated expertise at the delivery level. So we must continue.
We can do better by eliminating cervical cancer completely.
I'm proud to be part of the movement to end cervical cancer. You're the ones who can make the difference, so do it.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Head of JMMB Real Estate, Tracy Ann Creary, says for financial year 2024-25, JMMB Real Estate contributed $332 million in profits from total earnings of $700 million. According to Creary, rental income, gains on sales, and gains from revaluations contributed to the earnings. In terms of expansion, the Houghton Avenue project, when completed, will be a 10-story building comprising parking and 45,000 square feet of office space. And I quote, "We are also thrilled about our urban renewal project on Harbor Street in downtown Kingston. We will be renovating 35,000 square feet of commercial space, thereby contributing to the revitalization of the area," end quote. In the meantime, the company has begun designing properties in Montego Bay, St. James, and Mandeville, Manchester. These projects, according to Creary, will further expand the JMMB Real Estate's property portfolio. Kintyre Holdings Jamaica Limited has advised of the acquisition of a property in Stony Hill, St. Andrew for $110 million through its subsidiary, Parallel Real Estate Ventures Limited. The number of persons working in the global digital services sector, another name for the BPO sector, fell from 60,000 in 2023 to 55,000 in March of this year, way below the target of 75,000 established by the government. This was mainly due to geopolitical tensions, the introduction of artificial intelligence, onshoring and reshoring, as well as the high cost of doing business. As a result, the government is seeking to reposition the sector to attract investments in the higher value segment of the industry with the help of international knowledge process outsourcing operators. These higher value segments include medical process outsourcing, financing, accounting, legal process outsourcing, software development, cybersecurity, and data analytics. For the trading period ending October 13, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Office supply provider Stationery and Office Supplies Limited with 2,371,742 units traded, representing 24.51% of market sales volume. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited Jamaican dollar shares with 1,948,468 units traded, representing 20.14% of market sales volume. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited with 898,639 units traded, representing 9.29% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On October 13, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $33.05 million purchased and US $34.26 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $2.52 per dollar, selling the US at $161.85 and buying the US at $159.33. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $3.39 per transaction, with selling at $116.33 and buying at $112.94. The British pound yielded Forex traders $1.25 in profits, with selling at $215.18 and buying at $213.93. For our credit report tip of the day, rebuilding credit and getting out from under debt begins with a decision, the decision to act. It's about facing what feels uncomfortable and choosing progress over perfection. When you review your credit report, set a payment schedule or reach out to negotiate better terms. You're not just fixing finances, you're rebuilding stability, confidence, and control. Every step you take is a step towards financial freedom, and that forward motion is what turns recovery into resilience. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, in St. Lucia, growing election fever is in the air. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre's weekend rally remarks have fueled fresh speculation about when the next general election will be called. The comments came as the island marked 74 years since achieving universal adult suffrage, the right to vote. And just a day later, the Prime Minister faced questions from the media about a possible election date during his weekly pre-cabinet briefing. The details in this report.
We put in people first. My choice is clear. My choice. Clear, clear, clear. My choice. My choice is clear. I stay with Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, keep on working, don't mind them. We love you. Comrades! Comrades!
St. Lucia Labour Party political leader and Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre was fired up on Sunday, October 12th, as he hit the campaign trail, dropping a major hint about the much-anticipated next general election.
Get your ID cards. Make sure that your friends have their ID card. And when that Monday comes, you know, they're talking about ring the bell, ring the bell. Any time they hear me on the radio, Kaka look upon you. Anytime they hear me on the radio, they're running. He calling it, he calling it, he calling it. I am the one that will call it. And if they don't like it, tell them, put it in their pipe.
On Monday morning, members of the media pressed Prime Minister Pierre for clarity on his podium remarks. He remained guarded, even as journalists raised public queries over whether the timing of the next general election hinges on the opening of the St. Jude Hospital.
A lot of people seem to believe that the Lucia Labour Party is waiting to call the election on the promise of St. Jude. What's your thoughts on this?
I told you yesterday, elections will be on a Monday. I told you, and I still hold elections will be on a Monday. But St. Jude's is doing well, going very well. You know, last time I know most of the soft furniture was here. The equipment, you know, again, there are supply chain issues, and I understand that most of the medical equipment has been shipped. And if you notice, but I can tell you that the physical infrastructure of St. Jude, ready for commissioning, will happen before the end of the year. I can tell you that clearly, that the physical infrastructure at St. Jude will be ready before the end of this year for the hospital to be commissioned.
It's important to note that the commissioning of the hospital doesn't always mean it's ready for use. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre reminded the press of this, taking them down memory lane to the commissioning of the Owen King European Hospital, a facility that remained idle for years until the COVID-19 pandemic forced its opening.
But suddenly you have people who are behaving as if St. Jude, once you finish it, people must be there. That doesn't happen. You have to commission it. You have to get the physical infrastructure can be ready. But the commission also takes time. That's happening OKU. But again, these people, in their desperation, pretend as if they've forgotten. They've forgotten. Remember OKU? We had a commissioning team led by Dr. Stephen King. That was set up in 2016, 2015 to set it up. 2016, 2017, 2018. In 2017, they were fired. Then 2018, we had people from the Cayman Islands. You know, that is why you see the personal attacks on me will get more intense, because I know the history.
A recent proposal involving foreign interests has stirred national discussion in Grenada. The matter has raised questions about its possible implications for the island's independence and regional relations. More from GBN News.
The government of the United States has purportedly asked Grenada to permit the installation of radar assets at the Merce Bishop International Airport, a proposal that has stirred both political discussion and public curiosity across the island. The request has raised questions about how it might affect Grenada's independence and long-standing position as a peaceful nation in the Caribbean. Many citizens and political figures are now debating whether allowing the United States radar equipment on the island could strengthen security or draw Grenada into regional and international tension. In an exclusive interview, political leader of the movement and Member of Parliament for the town of St. George, Peter David, cautioned that agreeing to the United States request could come at a steep cost.
In the Southern Caribbean. We as a country, not with this administration, not only with the previous administration, all administrations over the years, we have called and continue to make calls for this area to be declared and to be sustained as a zone of peace. In fact, just last month at the UN General Assembly, that call was made. If we accede to the request by the United States, I believe, and we believe as a people, it seems to me, because I'm getting lots of calls on that, that will only escalate tensions in the Southern Caribbean. Our view is that Grenada, given its strategic location and its excellent relationship with the United States and with Venezuela, is in a good position not to put on military assets, but to engage in some discussions and negotiations with the parties to see if we, not only Grenada, but we as a regional entity, the OECS or CARICOM, can find ways to settle these matters peacefully. Imagine what the impact on Grenada would be to find ourselves in the middle of a military conflict. We have no capacity to deal with it. And at the end of it, we'll be left holding all the rubble and not having any benefit from it. What I believe and what I've said and what I continue to say is that the region should be kept as a zone of peace. We must maintain our excellent relations with the US, maintain our excellent relationship with Venezuela, who has been good to us over the years with energy supplies and other assistance over the years, as we have been with the United States, and see if we can find ourselves somewhere where we can offer assistance in making peace, not making war. Our assistance should be in our interest, which is to keep the region, keep the area, keep the Southern Caribbean as a zone of peace, so that our people can have what we call peaceful development.
Government officials have not yet said whether Grenada will approve the request. However, the debate continues across the island about the potential impact of the proposal. Tune in tonight on GBN Beyond the Headlines, where the panelists will discuss this topic further. Shania McIntosh, GBN News.
We focus our sports report on football news. Jamaica's Reggae Boys will be looking to bounce back from a disappointing 0-2 defeat to Curacao when they meet Bermuda this evening at 7 o'clock at the National Stadium in their final CONCACAF World Cup qualifying Group B match. The loss on Friday dealt a setback to Jamaica's bid for automatic qualification to next summer's FIFA World Cup. Team captain Andre Blake has urged his teammates to regroup and use the defeat as motivation heading into tonight's must-win encounter. Prior to the Curacao match, Jamaica were on course to secure qualification with 2 wins from their remaining fixtures, which would have lifted them to 12 points, a total likely out of reach for their rivals. However, the defeat dropped the Reggae Boys to second in Group B on 6 points, with Curacao moving to the top on 7. Trinidad and Tobago sit third with 4 points, while Bermuda remain without a point. A win tonight is crucial if Jamaica is to keep its World Cup dreams alive and regain momentum heading into the next phase of the qualifying campaign. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.